And for now, we're just waiting for everyone else to join. We will give them 5 minutes, and 11:05 we will start the actual part of the webinar. I apologize if you guys came on Monday and then it didn't happen. We had some technical issues with the webinar platform, unexplainable, just people couldn't access our webinar link. But it seems that today things are working, and I'm very excited about that. So while we're waiting for everyone else to join, and hello everyone who is joining now, I suggest let's get to know each other. Please go ahead and find a chat box. It's usually on the right side in the bottom of your screen. I'm just typing a message there. So this is the tool we're going to use to communicate. This is where you guys can post your questions. And what I'm going to ask from you now, please introduce yourselves. So we know what you guys do, what your company does, and what are you interested in today's webinar. While you're doing that, I'll start with my introduction. As already said, my name is Anastasia. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Movingo and also co-host of Culture Mapping podcast. I'll tell you a little bit more about that just in a moment. I put some lovely, pretty pictures of myself on the slide, as our producer told me to do. We've been doing what we do in Dubai since 2021. We've been through a couple of local accelerators with our relocation platform. I'll tell you about that as well. However, now we're kind of rerouted more into consulting and accounting and reporting for businesses. And this is what I'm going to be talking to you about today. Coming back to our podcast, it's our media project, and this is a series of interviews where I, together with my co-hosts, speak to entrepreneurs based in the UAE, not only entrepreneurs, also professionals, creators. Yesterday, we've published an episode with a chef, and we talk about culture, basically how their local culture, their authentic culture affects what they do and how they work, living in the UAE, living abroad, and how do various cultures that are existing here in the UAE affect the way they work and do things. So it might seem very far away from the topic of today's webinar, but it's not true, because this is something that we meet every day. And I believe that every entrepreneur, every professional who is working in the UAE should be very mindful of working with various cultures. And that's the reason why we actually do this project. So if this is something that's interesting for you, go ahead, scan the QR code. You'll land on our YouTube channel, which is pretty new because we used to do only audio, but now we do video as well. So, and watch our latest episode that was just uploaded yesterday. Okay, I see Rand introducing himself. I'm the founder of Enlighten, a company that provides consultancy services for leadership development and effective and responsible use of AI. That sounds amazing. That sounds very interesting. Do you have a website? Maybe you'll share it with us, because I even feel that our clients might use your services. Thank you very much for introduction. And guys, whoever is joining us now, welcome. And what we do, we are using the first 5 minutes of this webinar to speak to each other, to get to know each other, and we're gonna start just in 1 minute. I'll continue my own introduction. So I introduced myself personally. Now I'll introduce us as a company. We have 2 lines of business. One is business structuring, which is company formation, team relocation, visas, and everything around. This is how our platform that I mentioned before looks like. We help various types of businesses to establish in the UAE, and if I suppose that you guys should already have your companies registered, but we will be talking a lot today about how restructuring your legal entities can help you to optimize your operations and taxes. So this is something that we can do. And our second line of business is connected to accounting and taxes. You probably can also understand from our intro. We do classic bookkeeping and accounting for our clients, tax consulting. We have expertise both in the UAE, European Union, and Russia. These are the countries we can work with in terms of countries. I mean, a lot of European countries and Russia. These are the countries that we can work with in terms of double taxation or any cross-border operations if you have them. And apart from taxes and accounting, we also take care of everything compliance, basically. And that's the topic of our today's webinar. Whoever is joining, I'll show it again. We're going to talk about all reports and compliance requirements for UAE-based businesses. And it's not only corporate tax, as you can imagine, because I think now we're all like, oof, okay, corporate tax is done for most of us. By the way, did everyone submit your taxes on time? Did you make it in September? Were there any issues? Do let us know. I'm very, very curious in the comments, obviously. This is just one part of business compliance and all the requirements that UAE businesses need to follow legally. There are plenty of others, and you still need to be compliant, and I am going to talk about this today. So this is how our agenda looks like. We have structured it like, let's say, the personal pyramid of needs that we use for our daily lives. And as humans, your business also has certain needs, and we put them into this pyramid shape because it's easy to read. And we're going to move from the base of the pyramid to the top of the pyramid, talking about your business needs when it comes to UAE laws and taxation. So we'll start with the bare minimum requirements that are needed when you are registering your business. Then we will move to level 2, which we are calling legal rails, thanks to one of our clients who came to us and said, listen, guys, I need you to put me on legal rails so I'm confident that I do everything right. And since then, he indeed does. And then we move to level 3, which is more about optimization, which can be, as I mentioned, business restructuring, tax optimization, and golden visas can become, in the long run, a very good strategy for your team, which will save you quite a lot of money, especially if your team is big. And on the top, or what we call sometimes also like a crown chakra of business needs, are CFO services, which we all also help with, but this is something people usually come to when everything else is settled, but it's crucial for your business success, development, and growth. So this is what I will going to talk to you about in the next 50 minutes. And we've prepared a couple of gifts. We're very happy that you've joined us today, and we are very happy that even though this was a postponed webinar from Monday due to our technical issues, you still came, and we are very happy to see you. And we prepared 2 things for you. First of all, we offer 20% off all our services for webinar participants. You'll have to book a meeting with my colleague Anna. She's also texting in the chat to avail this offer. And we will also, at the very, very end of today's session, closer to 12 o'clock, we'll give you the checklist, which is called UAE Business reports guide, which basically has everything I'm mentioning today, but it's a nice, neat, pretty PDF that you can save and that you can use whenever you need to use it. This is not the only webinar we're hosting. Today we're talking about business requirements. In general, we also have a in-depth, detailed webinar on corporate tax. We have a lot of events together with Dubai Chambers. One was in Moscow just last week, but these events are more focused on business setup or business relocation to the UAE, but this is also something that we do together with Dubai Chambers, and you can see plenty of other topics and events. And if you feel that you would like us to prepare some other topic, just think about it now. Maybe you have something in mind. Maybe there is a topic that you would like to cover in more detail. Please do let us know in the comments what this topic can be, because what you see in the screen, this is something that we did, and this is something that we do, and this is something that we repeat from time to time. But if you feel that there is anything else you'd like us to prepare, we will be happy to hear your opinion. And again, I see that some more people have joined. Welcome, guys, and we're just starting. You haven't missed much, to be very honest. And one thing that I can ask you to do, find the chat box, and this is where you can ask any questions that pop up in your mind during the webinar, and I'll answer them in the end of the webinar. To test that it works, you can just go ahead and introduce yourselves, tell us what you do and what are you interested in today. While you do that, I'll start with top 3 mistakes that we see consistently when people approach us with whatever business matters they have. I'll start with number 1. Still, a lot of people come and say, I don't have revenue, or my revenue is really low, so I don't file corporate tax. We even had case during one of the last webinars when a lawyer was joining, a lawyer from some firm was joining our webinar, and she was asking us, how do I convince my boss that we need to do that? Because despite all our consultations, despite anything I tell him, he still believes that if revenue is low, you don't need to file corporate tax report. Well, this is a good way to convince your boss if he or she thinks like this, or if you still think like this. If you don't file corporate tax report on time, you're gonna receive a fine, 500 dirhams a month, and this fine is going to grow over time and accumulate until you actually submit the corporate tax return. Even if your revenue is 0, you still need to do that. Please remember and try to avoid this fine. Another thing that we see very often, people say, I'm a free zone company and I don't need the VAT registration. This is a very nuanced topic because, first of all, free zones are different. Some of them are designated, some of them are non-designated, and they have various VAT rules and exemptions. And the fine for not knowing your type and missing VAT registration on time is 10,000 dirhams, and it's not something that can be waived like we had that waiver with corporate tax a few months ago, because it's not a new law. It's existing in the UAE since 2009, and everyone supposed to know about this until now. So guys, even if you're a free zone company, doesn't mean that you're exempt from everything, even though free zone is the whole name of this jurisdiction is very inviting to believe that you don't need to pay anything at all. And mistake number 3 that we see people making all the time, and this even probably sounds a bit silly, because sometimes people say, I don't have all my statutory documents and don't even know the full list of those. So sometimes people think that only a trade license is enough, and they forget that there is also memorandum of association, there is a certificate of formation, establishment card, many other documents that you must have. Otherwise, you're gonna face a lot of issues in banks, when talking to authorities, when applying to visas. And if, like, to be very honest with you, there is no direct fine for not having your memorandum of association in a separate folder on your laptop, but you can get a lot of fines when you fail to renew licenses, renew permits, update your documents on FTA portal, submit your taxes. These are all the examples when you need the full list of your company's statutory documents, and you better know what they are and you better have them in place. And we're going to give you the list so you don't fall into these traps. A couple of examples, what can happen if you do one of those mistakes that I've just noticed. One of our potential clients who approached us with quite a big accounting backlog, which was not done for a year or more, a few weeks prior corporate tax deadline submission, he said, yeah, but I had some accountant, I just need to submit the corporate tax. And what he's shown to us was just an Excel spreadsheet with a lot of mistakes, with wrong calculations, with corporate tax not calculated. And he also mentioned that he paid 10,000 for that, and then people just disappeared. So we will talk about accounting as one of the requirements for businesses today as well, but you need to understand that accounting in the UAE is done according to IFRS standards, and it's very important that you as a business follow them. And according to those standards, you need to use the accredited accounting software to be able to comply. And just doing numbers in Excel spreadsheet is not working anymore. Just for certain small businesses or freelancers, there are situations where you can do that, but generally don't do that. And I will say more, don't work with people who say that that's enough, because it's not. Another example, I was mentioning how important it is for the business to have all the documents in place. So we had one client who never seen his memorandum of association. Maybe it wasn't even ever sent to him by the people who were incorporating his company. And when he came to us asking for corporate tax and VAT registrations both at the same time, we couldn't do that. He couldn't find this document. He didn't want to apply for a new one. He couldn't get in touch with his previous provider. In the end, a couple of weeks of back and forth, our client, unfortunately, never became our client, and got two fines which are together 20,000 dirhams. And this is the perfect example why you need to know what documents are important and mandatory in the UAE, and why you need to have them in place and structured and prepared for whenever you need to use them. Okay, so this was like a little introduction part. Now we're going to move up our business needs pyramid, starting with the bare minimum. And this continues the topic of statutory documents perfectly. Here they are. I've mentioned it already, I think 3 or 4 times today. So guys, if you want everything to run smoothly, if you want to not have any issues with authorities or banks in the UAE, make a screenshot of the slide, write it down, make a picture, whatever works for you, but save this must have documents for every business. Let's go through the list. Trade license, I think you know. Office lease, I think it's also pretty obvious. This is your business address and this is your HRE. Some businesses, such as like educational businesses or financial businesses, might need additional licenses or permits. Make sure you have those and make sure you renew them every year, as well as your license. Owners' e-visa and Emirates ID are very, very important, especially if the owners are not permanently based in the UAE. We had many unfortunate situations when people were approaching us for visa renewals or for additional companies openings and so on and so forth. And unfortunately, for example, they wouldn't have their residency visa, which is now only an e-visa in your UAE ICP app, and then they were abroad and then they couldn't access this app and all the processes were just stuck. Or there are situations when you need to go to a bank or to Ministry of Labor, for example, where you need to have the physical Emirates ID because you're gonna put them in this scanner to actually do something. And this is also very important, that the business owner either comes frequently to the UAE or lives here or have a trusted person who can keep his or her ID safely here in the UAE for such cases. Memorandum of Association, I've mentioned too many times. Establishment card, don't forget to renew it together with your trade license and additional permits if you have them. We also always recommend to have a shareholder resolution if it isn't issued automatically from your free zone. Especially it's necessary for opening bank accounts, and only for mainland companies it's important to have a e-signature card. And again, this e-signature card, the physical card, needs to be in the UAE, because when you're gonna hire new people, you will actually need it here. So again, make a picture, make a screenshot, save this list, because guys, this seems maybe even silly to talk about that, but from our experience, it's super, super important. Moving further, UBO declaration. Did any one of you receive the request to update UBO details from DED just a month ago? If you didn't receive it just a month ago, you may receive it any day. If you own 25% and more of the company, you must have the UBO register updated, and you must inform the regulatory authority, either it's DED or Abu Dhabi DED if you're registered in Abu Dhabi, or a free zone. You must inform them whenever there are any updates in UBO details of your company. This is by law. Again, if you don't do that, you can receive a fine. Like first there will be just a few reminders, but then there are fines and there is a risk that your license activity will be frozen until the register is updated. A lot of people skip this step and only come to us when it is too late and the license is already frozen. Guys, don't do that. Make sure you have your UBO declaration updated at all times. WPS registration. Also an interesting topic, and another bare minimum requirement. We're still sitting at the bare minimum. It is for mainland DMCC and JAVSA companies. Most of the free zones don't require it, but this is basically your Ministry of Labor registration and the registration in WPS system, which tracks that you pay your employees on time and the exact amount that is mentioned in your labor contract. It's a must, and we've seen it too many times when people were simply skipping it, and then they had, again, their licenses frozen, they had a hire freeze, and they couldn't issue any visas until they set up the system and until they pay all the pending salaries through the system. not directly. Please pay attention. That's very important that you have it in place if your company is registered in mainland, DMCC, or JAVSA. And apart from the license fees, you also can have a fine from 1,000 to 5,000 dirhams for late payment or underpayment of salaries that's supposed to be paid via WPS. Corporate tax. Do we even need to talk about corporate tax, or we know everything about it already? So that's just one slide and all the information that you need to know about corporate tax on one slide. Tax rates are 0% for some, 9% for everyone, even free zones, and so on and so forth. We have the full webinar on corporate tax, and we will still continue doing that, I suppose. And this is where we talk about this in greater details and talk about all the possible exemptions from the corporate tax. Corporate tax registration deadlines are 3 months after company incorporation for companies, and for natural persons, for example, freelancers, individual consultants, or sole proprietors, these 3 categories fall under the corporate tax law, and they must register and they must pay corporate tax. So these bodies only need to register when their yearly turnover reaches 1 million dirhams or more. Return filing period for companies is their financial year, and it can be different, but for most of the companies who had their financial year January to December, the deadline was 30th of September, which means that your next deadline is 30th of September next year. But there are some businesses that have a different financial year. For natural persons, it's a calendar year, which means if you're a sole proprietor or a freelancer, your corporate tax filing deadline is going to be in December, which is in 2 months, which is very soon, so pay attention to that. This is how you can calculate it. You have a financial year, for example, 2025. You check when it ends, for example, 31st of December, it's supposed to be 2025. There is a typo there. Then you add 9 months, and this is the time frame within which you can actually file your corporate tax return, and then the deadline is 30th of September, 2026 now. This is for next year, and then the for natural persons is much easier because it's just the calendar year, and they don't need to have this calculation. For everyone who have missed the September 2025 deadline, there is unfortunately a fine of 500 dirhams every month. So it means that now I think 1,000 is hanging on those who have missed the deadline, but still it's necessary to submit all your tax returns, pay the fine, and make sure it's not growing even bigger. And I can't emphasize it more, but I will, and I'll try again. You won't be able to file your report if your accounting for the reporting period is not done. Because we've seen it a lot in September when people were coming to us and saying like, okay, can we just file? Here are our bank statements. No, guys, this doesn't work like this. First, you need to do the accounting, you need to clean up everything, and then you'll be able to submit. Relatively new update, and this is all like in this peach bright color to attract your attention. And I suppose your accounting records must be kept for 7 years. It's very important to know and to take care of. And there are 13 different types of fines related to accounting standards and corporate tax. We're talking just about one, okay, 500, but there are 13 different types. And if there is something wrong in your accounting or in your submission details or in many other things that are mentioned in this document, you can again screenshot it, Google it, and see what exactly can go wrong and how much it can cost you. And what's really terrible with all these fines is that they are accumulating. You can get 10,000 for a late registration, then 500 for late submission, and then they will find that you had mistakes in your accounting, and then it will be only piling up, and it can be a very, very unpleasant number, as you can understand. To not fall into this trap, we suggest you to work with professionals such as us. We do this for our clients, and we haven't missed any deadline in this season, and we are very, very proud of this. And today, for all of you guys, we offer 20% off our accounting packages. And to book this offer, you need to go and meet my colleague Anna. She's texting in the chat. You can either tap the link or you can scan the QR code, and you will end up on this page where you'll be able to select a 15-minute slot to share your case with us, tell us how we can help you, share your questions, and maybe even get some answers if my colleague Anna is in a good mood. But this is necessary to express your interest in our special offer and mention that you were attending one of our webinars. Please go ahead, book it, and I'll be inviting you to do that once again. As Anna is also quite busy, she only has 10 spots for this post-webinar talks. So also make sure to be fast in booking your meeting and catching one of the 10 spots that Anna has prepared for you. Once again, I have many slides about that. I think I've said enough and we can move forward. I think until now you understand that you need to go and meet my colleague and talk to her. Okay, now we are done with the bare minimum list of requirements for business compliance in the UAE, and you've seen that it's like quite many of them. And this is all that you must do right after your company formation. Then when you start working, when you are getting more clients, when your operations grow, you can move to one level up, which we call legal rails. What's there? Value added tax. I'm pretty sure you guys know about that, but maybe we should go into details. So while your turnover is below 375,000 dirhams, your VAT rate is going to be 0. You're going to put 0 in your invoices, and you don't even need to register. Once your turnover for 12 months increases this amount, you need to register for VAT, and you need to pay VAT every quarter. And the dates for VAT filings are different for every business. That's why you really need someone keeping an eye on it. There are exemptions. There are designated zones such as Jabza, Davza, and Abu Dhabi Airport Free Zone. There are offshores which are exempt from paying VAT, and also there is a list of zero-rated goods if you're into export. These are also all the examples when your VAT rate can be 0. If not, then it's 5%, and you need to file VAT returns every quarter. VAT registration is not the same as corporate tax registration. As I mentioned before, there is a threshold to register for VAT, but I'm highlighting that it's not the same as corporate tax, because even though both certificates even look similar, and these certificates even both have TRN numbers, they're still not the same, and you need to register separately. And guys, please pay attention to that. Otherwise, you're gonna get fined same amount as for corporate tax, which you can get double if you miss both, which is 10,000 dirhams, and 2% penalty on outstanding tax if it hasn't been settled. Did you ever have any problems with VAT? You are very silent. I've seen a couple of questions, but I'll be answering them later on. But what are the issues that you guys usually face with VAT? Because I also need to have a little break. I see someone is typing. Great. We'll come back to your VAT questions then. I'll move forward. If you are into sugar drinks, alcohol, or tobacco, you know that there is an excise tax in the UAE. I will not sit here for long because if you have any questions, do let me know. But you need to know that excise tax is very high. It's can be from 50 to 100%. And again, if you don't register, you get a penalty for late registration, and another penalty on outstanding tax is 10%, very, very high, 50%, very, very high compared to 2% on VAT penalties on outstanding tax. Then there is another category of reporting, which only applies to the business, to the list of businesses that you can see on the left side of the screen. So if you're one of those businesses, if you do these activities, you will also need to do your AML registration, and you also will need to develop certain AML policies and procedures and make sure they're followed by your team, and that they are in place, because Ministry of Economy does random checks. Like, there is no a certain deadline to have it in place, but they do random checks, and from time to time they will send you various assessment reports that you will also have to go through, that you will also have to follow. And this is something people forget very, very often, even though they know very well that their business is one of this from this list on the left-hand side. And the fines here are super, super high. And as we're talking about money laundering, we are risking license suspension and even imprisonment if the money laundering fact is going to be confirmed. That's why don't skip it. This compliance is extremely important, and the list of companies that must do AML registration, reporting, and everything else is longer than it seems it is. You can find yourself in there. Now let's talk about audits as something that you first will meet when you reach 1 year of operations in the UAE. Most of the free zones, except for Ajman and Al Quwain, as far as I know, have mandatory audits every year. Then audits are also mandatory for every free zone company that is submitting their tax report and electing to be a qualified free zone person. That means that they are electing to not pay corporate tax. And it's mandatory for mainland companies with turnover over 50 million a year. For everyone else, it's not mandatory, but the list is basically a couple of free zones and mainland companies that are having turnover lower than 50 million a year. We're moving one level up, and I will be very soon ready to answer your questions, guys. So how to optimize all of that? You see that it's not only about taxes. There are many other requirements that are very often overseen by business owners in the UAE, because no one is proactively talking about that, or they think like, okay, whatever, we can skip that. How can we optimize our expenses when trying to comply with all these rules and regulations? For example, we recommend you to apply for golden visas for you and your employees. For example, whoever receives a salary 30,000 plus, for 6 months and is employed for at least 2 years can switch to golden visa. Very important that salaries must be paid via WPS, and with free zone companies it's a little bit tricky, but we had successful cases. It's still possible to do. Then it's also possible to get a golden visa if you invest. For example, you either have 2 million dirhams of share capital, or you sold a business valued at 7 million dirhams or more. This is how you can also get a golden visa for you, and also you can sponsor your family after. And then for 10 years, all golden visas are for 10 years. You just don't think about renewing it again. And then if you're into some innovative industry in tech, or if you're a startup, there are a lot of categories where you can apply as extraordinary talent, and we do this as well. So if you think that if you consider yourself an extraordinary talent, you should definitely reach out to us, and we see if we can offer you some of the golden visa category that will work for you. This is visas optimization. Then we can talk about tax optimization or business structuring, because when you grow, very often it makes sense to separate your business activities into different entities, not only in the UAE, but also abroad. Maybe you need to start thinking about outsourcing certain services to a management company and the holding, and like I'm just throwing so many words at you, but this is something that you need to think of when your business is actually growing, and we do that as well. As you can see, like there are some cases from business restructuring on the slide, and if this is something, if you're growing, this may be something that you need to have a look into. And finally, outsourced CFO. So the management reporting is what the chief financial officer usually does, and it's not the same as accounting. In fact, it's very different and serves completely different purposes. And we see so often people mistake financial analytics and accounting. Let's figure out what's the difference. Accounting is something that is required legally. As I've mentioned before, it follows certain international standards. It's historical and factual, and it's basically used for compliance purposes. Very often, accounting doesn't give you any insights into your business financial standing or your future business development, because it's historical and it has external focus on certain authorities. What you need to have in place together with accounting is management reporting. This is going to be probably Excel spreadsheets that don't work for accounting, but it will be the format that you read and understand. And this is the tool that you can use not only to look at the historical financial data that you have, but you can also include forecasts and KPIs and involve budgeting and see how you can grow, what are the areas that are overspending or the projects that are not profitable within your organization. And accounting is not answering these questions, unfortunately, but management reporting does. And we also do that. We have a separate team that is doing that. So if this is something for you guys, you can also approach us, and we'll be very happy to help you with that. So whatever the area of the pyramid of needs you found yourself in, we can support you. So starting from the bare minimum with all the kickoff of accounting and taxes and making your internal documents audit, and then grow into operational company that needs optimization and growth. These are the approximate prices for our services. Some of them are subscription. For example, when we look at level 1 and 2, that's usually a monthly subscription that covers accounting and tax reporting, and then further on we go into one-off consultations and services depending on your needs. And as I said already, for all webinar participants, we offer 20% off all our services. So whatever you need, either accounting or AML registration and policies, or CFO services, or maybe golden visas, you can get 20% off our services and save a lot of money. But I must say that this is a limited time offer. It will only last 2 working days. I'm not counting today because it's Friday. I know that after lunchtime, no one is going to make any decisions, but book a meeting with Anna before Wednesday. You will have 2 working days to do that, which are Monday and Tuesday. You will receive recording of this webinar. You can rewatch, you can reflect, you can think what exactly you need as a business. You can drop us a message and say, okay, maybe you can make some custom-made offer for us. We can also do that. And yeah, we'll be very, very happy to help you. And this is, again, how it will look when you follow the link that Anna is sharing with you. I'll leave it here for a while, and now we're moving to questions and answers. So if you have any questions, do post them in the chat. I'll answer whatever was asked before. And right after questions, remember, I'm also gifting you the checklist with all business requirements. So you also have it as a PDF, not just as a recording of our webinar today. Okay, questions. So the first one I see is from Ahmed. What are qualifying activities for free zone company, and how to get the list of qualifying activities? The qualifying activities are quite some. I will not read you out loud the full list, but you need to know that there are such activities there as logistics, distribution, management of ships, holdings, headquarters. So there is nothing, let's say, tech or operational or service oriented. These are all very, let's say, old school, let's call them like this, business activities. And only having them on the license will allow you to become a qualified free zone person. We do qualified free zone person case studies as well. So if this is something that you want to have a look into, do let me know, and me or Anna, and we will see what we can do for you. Then there is another question from Rand. Would it be possible to get a recording of this webinar? Yes, as I've mentioned already, it's totally possible, and you'll receive the recording till the end of the day today on the registered email. Then there is a question from Anna. Am I right if I'm not sure how to fill the forms? I just can work with your company and you will tell me which papers I need to provide. Sorry, too many fines you mentioned. I'm confused. Yeah, I know, because there are a lot of fines and they are confusing. Yes, we can help you out. We usually, when people approach us, if they're unsure about what exactly do they need to submit and where and when, we do a free audit for them. We check the documents, we check the financial, and we say, listen guys, this and this and this is what you must do. This is mandatory. This is nice to have. Yeah, we can definitely help you. So please do book a meeting with Anna. So Anna can talk to Anna, and you'll be fine. Then there is a question from Dolly. My business license is under SBC free zone. I've already registered with the corporate tax and received approval. That's great news. I'm engaged in health and life coaching. Do I need to take any further steps after this? Should I also register for VAT? I'm a startup. So first of all, I invite you to talk to us to do this quick free audit. for your company. Further steps that you need to take are that you actually need to file corporate tax. If you haven't done that, the deadline was in September. And if you were registered in 2025, then you will need to file it in September 2026. And should you register for VAT? Yes, once your turnover reaches 375,000 dirhams in the next 12 months. I hope I answered your questions. If you guys have any more, we still have maybe 5-10 minutes. And as promised, we've prepared for you the checklist with UAE Business Reports Guide. It actually summarizes everything that we've talked about today. And this is a PDF that you can simply download following this QR code. And you can see that there are like 4 different types of entities for different kind of you see like legal entities or residences, because some natural persons also have a lot of obligations. You will be able to see what exactly you must or must not do. And I think we're done. If you guys don't have any more questions to ask me, I have one last thing that I want to ask you. Please give us some feedback. Was this session useful for you? Was it not? Is there anything missing? Was it too much? Was it too less? What are the topics that you would like us to cover later on? Please do let us know, because we take your feedback very seriously, and we are always improving and updating our webinars and our events. We're also going to host a couple of in-person events in Dubai soon, so keep an eye on your email, because we do send a lot of newsletters. So yeah, I'm just waiting for your feedback. I'll hang here for a while, and I think we're done. Thank you very much. I've seen you booked a few meetings with Anna, which is great, and she'll be I'm talking for her, but I'm pretty sure she'll be very happy to chat with you guys. Thanks a lot, and I hope you all have a lovely weekend. Thank you, guys. Well, I believe we all can go now. Thanks a lot.